6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The morning news edited by Lal Malavarachi, read by Soundi Thavam. Sri Lanka and the IMF reach preliminary agreement on emergency loan. The ADB approves $200 million loan to mitigate Sri Lanka's food crisis. The amber flood warning for low-lying areas of the Kalu River extended till 7:30 p.m. today. The Education Ministry issues special notice on school holidays. The police continue operations island-wide to nab drug peddlers. Sri Lanka invites Saudi Arabia to set up an oil refinery. In news overseas, Russia shuts major gas pipeline to Europe. And in sports, New Zealand all-rounder Colin de Grandhomme announced his retirement from international cricket. Sri Lanka and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, have reached a preliminary agreement on an emergency loan to the country, and a formal announcement will be made today, 4 sources with direct knowledge of the matter said. Sri Lanka, struggling with its worst economic crisis in more than 7 decades, had sought up to $3 billion from the IMF. Staff-level agreements are typically subject to the approval of the IMF management and its executive board, after which the recipient nations get access to funds. A visiting IMF team held talks with Sri Lankan government officials, including the Treasury Secretary, late last Tuesday, to address concerns on the political front, the sources said. Most of the technical details have been agreed to beforehand. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, approved a $200 million emergency loan assistance for Sri Lanka, with funds repurposed from other ongoing ADB projects to improve food security and protect the livelihoods of the poor and vulnerable, especially women and children. The ADB Senior Education Specialist for South Asia, Azako Maruyama, said that food insecurity has severely affected the people of Sri Lanka amidst the current economic difficulties. This assistance will expand direct financial support for the poor and vulnerable, boost livelihood development activities and agriculture production, and enhance social protection systems. This fulfills the government's request for a partial cancellation of loan proceeds from ongoing projects and to use the funds for this emergency intervention. The project will continue for at least 3 months. The temporary increase in the monthly cash grant amount and the number of beneficiaries of the existing social assistance programs, including the Samudhi subsidy program for low-income families and allowances for the elderly, persons with disabilities and kidney disease patients. The project will also support for at least 3 months a temporary increase in the monthly value of food vouchers for pregnant and lactating women to be replaced with cash grants, and extend support to undernourished children under the age of 2 years. The Hydrology and Disaster Management Division of the Irrigation Department has issued an amber flood early warning for the catchment areas of the Kalu Ganga Basin. This advisory is in effect till 7:30 p.m. today. It further states that there is a possibility of a considerable flood situation in low-lying areas of the Kalu River Valley, situated in Palmadulla, Nivitigala, Ratnapura, Kuruvita, Ayagama, and the Alapatha Divisional Secretariat divisions. The advisory was issued on analysing the current rainfall and the river water levels of the hydrological stations in Kaluganga. Accordingly, residents and motorists passing through the aforementioned areas are advised to pay attention in this regard. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Ministry of Education says holidays for the second term of schools this year will be granted from September 8th to September 12th. Accordingly, the school vacation for the second term will consist of only 5 days. At the same time, the school vacation for the third term is scheduled to be given from December 3rd, 2022 to January 1st, 2023. The vacation of the third term will consist of 29 days accordingly. According to the Education Ministry, the GCE Advanced Level Examination for the year 2022 is scheduled to be held during the third term vacation. The Examination Department plans to accept applications for re-scrutiny of the GC Advanced Level Exam 2021-22, and accordingly the recorrection applications will be accepted from the 19th of September to the 30th of September. Meanwhile, the applications for the GCE Advanced Level Exam 2022 will close on the 8th of September. These details were disclosed at a media release of the examination department. The school candidates should submit the applications to the principal of their respective college, and the private candidates can apply separately. More details could be found from www.donets.lk or www.onlineexams.gov.lk/EIC. Further details could also be obtained by the candidates, who could contact on 0112 784208 or 0112 784537. Repeating those numbers, 0112 784208 or 0112 784537. The police have commenced island-wide operations to nab drug peddlers and members of underworld gangs. Police media spokesman Senior SSP Nihal Taldua says that they continue operations to nab drug peddlers as well as underworld gang leaders in the wake of a rise of criminal activities. The police and the Special Task Force officials have been deployed to carry out operations. They said that they are carrying out the move to reduce the drug distribution activities as well as to locate the culprits who are responsible over the several shooting incidents. At least 30 persons have been killed and 16 injured in the last 2 months. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Sri Lanka is seeking to boost energy cooperation with Saudi Arabia and has invited the kingdom to set up a refinery in the island. Environment Minister Nasir Ahmed went Riyadh recently as a special envoy of the Sri Lankan president and has since held meetings with officials from the kingdom, including the Saudi Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Walid El Quraishi, and the CEO of the Saudi Fund for Development, Sultan Al Marshad. Ahmed, who assumed his ministerial duties in late May, and also oversees Middle Eastern affairs, told the Arab News that improving cooperation with Saudi Arabia would be helpful in easing the current economic crisis in Sri Lanka. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says that an 18-hour water cut will be in effect in Colombo and its suburbs from 8 a.m. on Saturday, September 3rd, till 2 a.m. on Sunday, September 4th. The board said that Colombo, Dehivala, Mount Lavinia, Sri Javadapura Kotte, the Kaduvela municipality area, Maharagama, Boralaskamu, Kolonnava municipality areas, Kotikavatta, Mulleriava, Ratmalana and Katubadda will be affected and came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news. Making headlines this morning, Russia shuts major gas pipeline to Europe. Camilo Guevara, son of Marxist revolutionary Che Guevara, dies. Saudi Arabia seizes record 46 million amphetamine pills hidden in flour. Russia has completely halted gas supplies to Europe via a major pipeline, saying repairs are needed. The Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom said the restrictions on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline would last for the next 3 days. Russia has already significantly reduced gas exports via the pipeline. It denies accusations it has used energy supplies as a weapon of war against Western countries. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline stretches 1,200 kilometers under the Baltic Sea from the Russian coast near St. Petersburg to northeastern Germany. Camilo Guevara, March, the 60-year-old son of Argentine-born revolutionary leader Ernesto Che Guevara, has died. Cuban officials said he died of a heart attack caused by blood clots in his lungs. Camilo Guevara dedicated much of his career to documenting the life of his father, who fought alongside Fidel Castro in the Cuban Revolution. He opposed the use of his father's image, made famous by an Alberto Korda photograph, for marketing purposes. Authorities in Saudi Arabia say they have seized 46 million amphetamine pills that were smuggled in a shipment of flour, a record for the kingdom. Security forces tracked the shipment as it arrived at the Riyadh dry port and was taken to a warehouse, the General Directorate of Narcotics Control said. 6 Syrians and 2 Pakistanis were arrested in a raid on the warehouse. Back to the headlines of the world news. Russia shuts major gas pipeline to Europe. Camilo Guevara, son of Marxist revolutionary Che Guevara, dies. And Saudi Arabia seizes record 46 million amphetamine pills hidden in flour. That concludes this bulletin of world news, and on to development news. The Commercial Bank of Ceylon has extended the reach of its national IT education initiative to encompass 5 more government teaching institutions, to which the bank recently donated fully equipped IT labs and, where necessary, conducted building renovations. The latest beneficiaries of the bank's flagship corporate social responsibility program are the Kudagamana Mahavidyalaya in Valpita, Karunaratna College in Kotadeniava, Tavalampitiya Mahavidyalaya and Henepola Vidyaloka Vidyalaya in Mirigama, and the Vocational Training Authority of Sri Lanka VTA in Rajagiriya. The bank's donations included computers and shares, printers and multimedia projectors. In addition, the bank also invested in the renovation and expansion of the existing IT lab facilities at some of these institutions. That came to you in development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
New Zealand all-rounder Colin de Grandhomme has announced his retirement from international cricket. He said factors such as injuries and increasing competition in the national side across all 3 formats made him take the decision. De Grandhomme's international career lasted over 10 years, and he represented New Zealand in 115 games across formats. He was a fairly regular member of the side in these years because of his disciplined medium-pace bowling and hard-hitting abilities down the batting order. He was part of the team that beat India in the final of the inaugural World Test Championship in 2021 and the side that narrowly went down in the historic 2019 World Cup final. De Grandhomme started his international career with a T20I against Zimbabwe. He finished with 2 centuries, 8 half-centuries and took 49 wickets in 29 tests, including figures of 6 for 41 on debut against Pakistan in 2016. He also had 30 wickets and 742 runs at a strike rate of 106.15 in 45 ODIs. In the 41 T20Is he played, he scored 505 runs at a strike rate of 138.35, along with 12 wickets. That's sports news. We'll look at business news next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka has welcomed only 480,000 tourists for the first 8 months, with August arrivals so far reaching 35,000, despite travel advisories official data showed. Tourism arrivals from August 1st to 28th was 35,381, with the top 3 source markets being UK, India and Germany. Almost 6,495 British travellers have arrived and visited Sri Lanka in August, followed by 5,015 Indians and 3,065 Germans, and came to you in business news. Economic news up next.
Business news sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Sri Lankan stocks gained yesterday for the second session on positive sentiments over hopes that the interim budget could help ease the ongoing economic crisis, brokers said. The main all-share price index, ASPI, up 2.3% or 205.92 points to 9,071.32. The market saw net foreign inflow was 697 million rupees on Wednesday, the highest since March. The market generated 4.2 billion rupees in turnover, higher than this year's average daily turnover of 3.11 billion rupees. That's economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
On to the weather report. The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamo, central, northwestern and northern provinces and in the Anuradhapura, Gaul and Marchar districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters may occur at some places in the western, Sabragamo, central, northwestern and northern provinces. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the Uva and eastern provinces during the evening or night. On the apparent southward relative motion of the sun, it is going to be directly over the latitudes of Sri Lanka until the 7th of September this year. The nearest towns of Sri Lanka over which the sun is overhead today are Kalpitiya, Dunupotagama in the Anuradhapura district, Uttimaduwa, Nikavava in the Polonnaruwa district, Velle in the Trincomalee district and Verugal in the Trincomalee district about 12:10 noon. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. Sri Lanka and the IMF reach preliminary agreement on emergency loan. The ADB approves $200 million loan to mitigate Sri Lanka's food crisis. The amber flood warning for low-lying areas of the Kalu River extended till 7:30 p.m. today. The Education Ministry issues a special notice on school holidays. The police commends operations island-wide to nab drug peddlers. Sri Lanka invites Saudi Arabia to set up an oil refinery. Russia shuts major gas pipeline to Europe. And New Zealand all-rounder Colin de Grandhomme announced his retirement from international cricket. With that, we conclude this morning's news broadcast.